My name is Nick Linford and I'm Managing Director of LSECT and Managing Editor of a new newspaper called FE Week. So one of the things which is clearly very important when finding efficiencies is to look for innovation, and it's been an interesting time recently. John Hayes, in fact, has been using a rather nice metaphor to do with vanilla ice cream. The things you do shouldn't be like vanilla. Presumably he means more like Neapolitan, as in look for lots of different ways to find efficiencies. Let's talk about a few of those. Some ways to find efficiencies may be more obvious than others. I'm not suggesting that you're going to find much simply by taking the train instead of taking a taxi. So what can we do in the classroom, for example? I'm sure you've heard it before, and I'm sure it sounds very obvious, but actually class size is arguably the best way to find efficiencies. As I expect you know, every enrolment and therefore every learner generates funding. So more learners in the classroom, more funding. And clearly, the class isn't going to cost very much more, maybe a bit more materials. But as long as there's space, and as long as it doesn't affect the quality of what's being taught, then class size has got to be the way forward. Have a look at class size, look at the averages. Are they really as high as they think you are? Are you looking at the right averages? Of course, we're only talking about learners who are actually generating funding. Make sure you're not counting those that don't, and particularly those that drop out so early that actually it's as if they were never there in funding terms. So as I say, class size is particularly important and it really needs to be tackled head on. One way of losing significant funding is, of course, for learners to not get beyond their initial early retention period. On a long course, typically 6 weeks, or actually, strictly speaking, 42 days. There are certain things that do need to be looked at very carefully, some less obvious than others. Clearly, it may be they're enrolling and never attending. But are we actually asking questions about learners who are attending, but only for a small period of time? Are colleges going to them once they've not come back and actually saying, why did you not come back? From experience, it can often be because the course isn't exciting enough at the beginning. Students want to get hands-on with vocational learning, and sometimes not letting them near the kit until later puts them off. So if they're on a hospitality course, let them near the product. It really needs to be hands-on to show them how exciting the course is going to be for the year. One of the most important things, clearly, is to make best use of data. And of course, it is initially only data. Smart colleges will be making sure that they are turning that into information which they can use to determine how to change, or if they don't need to change what they're doing, especially when looking for efficiencies. Often it can be forgotten that if you share data, such as with learners, their information in their individual learning plans and so on, it's not only good for many reasons, but one of them is because it's one way to actually clean the data. They'll point out for you where things are wrong. And once it's corrected, of course, you can use that in the knowledge that you'll be getting things right. This is an area where you certainly do not want to leave something to fortune. I'm sorry that I've not been able to be with you today, but I hope you've enjoyed it as much as I have. Now it's time for me to take a look elsewhere.